leadership is about helping employees get better at their job, is about training, giving them the tools that they need, helping them reach their fullest potential, and certainly making changes to move people out of the business that don't belong in the business. And then lastly, the most difficult is hiring. It's bringing the right talent in at the right time in the organization. And that's very, very, very difficult. That's the most difficult thing, I think, that a CEO does, is bring the right people in at the right time for the right purpose.
Welcome to Grow Think Tank. This is the one and only place where you will get insight from the founders and the CEOs of the fastest growing privately held companies. I am the host. My name is Tiege Hanley. I help leaders and their teams navigate the defining moments of their growth. Are you ready to grow?
Today we're going to talk about building culture, and specifically in the world of a fast growth brand. We have with us Tiege Hanley, CEO, Kelley Thornton. Kelley and I talk about building culture, and I think you'll find it interesting because it's an interesting brand. And I will frame it this way. I've known about the brand for a long time. I've followed it through mentions on YouTube and throughout the internet, and have thought about, I should take more care of my own skin. And I failed to actually take action on that. But they reached out to me. I had known the brand, and I was like, you know what? There's some message there that I want to share with the audience. And so Kelley got on here and talked about building culture. And you'll find it really refreshing because he puts it down into 3 buckets: about hiring, about mentoring, and about the actual cultural aspects of a company. And it makes it very simple for you to understand, but also something that you can learn from today, as he has built a very successful brand at Tiege Hanley. And I really love their products. They ship me little samples, and I'm not an influencer. I'm not, doing this stuff for free things as people do, the kids these days. But I am really excited about sharing this interview with you because it's a great brand, and it's great for people to take care of themselves. We joke about this: when you look good, you feel good, and it really is true. So hopefully you'll take care of your skin, check out the products, but the real value is listening to Kelley. My job here is to be an executive coach to fast-growing companies, help them with their leadership challenges and skills, and help them grow to the next level. Because what I know for sure is that we must always be evolving, and if we aren't evolving, we are going to miss out on opportunities and growth. And it goes from CEOs through executive levels, throughout the organization, down to frontline leaders. We've got to continue to evolve, and my job is to help you do that. Now, one of the tools we use behind that is the leadership effectiveness evaluation. It's a tool that allows us to really codify where leadership is in the organization. Find out where you are. It's personalized, it's customized to you. There's 7 dials. You want to make sure you are in the right place on each of these dials, and you get to figure out where your weak spots are, and so you can focus on those as you move forward. My job is to help you create the team that you need for you to be the leaders that you want to. If you're interested in that leadership effectiveness evaluation, just go to tiegehannley.com and schedule your call today. Now, here's the interview with Kelley. Kelley, how are you?
Great, Gene. Good talking to you today.
We're going to have a good time talking about your journey of building a massive direct-to-consumer company. That company is Tiege Hanley. I've been a fan of you guys for a long time. Happy to have you on the show. Tell us about what you guys are doing over there at Tiege Hanley.
Yeah, we're helping men look and feel amazing. The way we do it is we provide simplified skincare systems. By the way, your skin looks amazing, Gene. I don't know what you're doing, but looks very good. And it's okay for guys to talk like that today.
I agree with you. I think we should be taking care of our skin, and I think a lot of guys don't do it. I'm just give you a moment to talk about the product. Like, things are changing over time, and I'm just curious, where do you see skincare for men going over the next 3 years?
I think generally as a market, I will answer specifically about product, but generally as a market, we're still, the wave is still forming, and it's part of a broader healthcare craze that's around self-care. I think self-care was really, people started thinking about self-care when Obama was talking about Obamacare and the need for taking care of people and taking care of yourself and taking more ownership in your health. And I think that's matriculated into people thinking about what they're eating and how much they're sleeping and working out and their weight. Of course, it goes into what they look like and their clothes. We're just a very small part of that, and it's a skincare routine that we're after to help men feel good about their skin and look good.
Those last words you said, I was thinking of something that I think someone from high school said this to me. I think his name's Jason. I've been listening to this show, but you look good, you feel good.
Exactly.
And that's kind of what you guys are doing. You're helping guys look good so that they feel good from the inside out, from the outside in, both ways. I really can respect what you guys are doing in this market. And I'm happy to have you on the show today.
Thank you. Yeah. And, we get probably hundreds a week of customer experience comments. And that message is delivered back to us, is repeated back to us over and over and over and over again, which is incredibly rewarding, which is when people use our product and they take care of themselves, they look good about themselves, they feel good about themselves. And that's just really important to what we're doing.
Well, we're not here to talk about skincare as much as I could probably talk to you about it all day long. I want to talk to you about the team that around you that's allowed you to create the brand that you have today. So I don't know where you want to start, but I really want to focus on our leadership and culture aspects of your business that got you where you are.
Yeah, I think we can break it down right in 3 different buckets. One is is the hiring process and what it takes to hire and train great people. I think the other thing is about, mentoring those people. So hiring them and mentoring them. And then lastly, it's around developing culture within an organization. And so I think, if you think about, we could talk about culture first. Creating culture at a company is extremely difficult. And what it really boils down to, it's not about like having coffee and donuts like on a regular basis, or taking people out to go-kart riding and team building. That's not really what it is. It's really a mentality of what the values of the company and the purpose of the company and the mission of the company and what we're trying to accomplish. It's really rooted in that. And then it's really rooted in kind of the way that you think about doing business that supports that mission and value and goals of the organization. So for us, we have very specific core values, and we talk about those core values every day in almost every meeting. So we're constantly reflecting and strengthening our core values through how we make decisions and how we treat other people in the organization and how that helps us reach our goals. So, leadership is about helping employees get better at their job, is about training, giving them the tools that they need, helping them reach their fullest potential, and certainly making changes to move people out of the business that don't belong in the business. And then lastly, the most difficult is hiring. It's bringing the right talent in at the right time in the organization. And that's very, very, very difficult. That's the most difficult thing, I think, that a CEO does, is bring the right people in at the right time for the right purpose. And I've botched it in my career. I've really, I've hired and fired more people than I have good people, but I have the best team I've ever had right now. So those are the 3 aspects, I think, of leadership.
I like the simple ways of looking at this, and most everything fits into these buckets that you just described. But I want to start with that culture thing first, because I have said this many times before. I've stood up on stages as a speaker for years talking about the importance of values. And some people I feel like get it, and some people will say they get it, and some people will dismiss me as like, that's fluffy. You said we use them every day. We talk about them every day. What's your favorite way of integrating the values into your way of living and working together?
Yeah, actually, we kind of just dropped the core values in the conversation. It happens at all levels. It's not just at a senior level or a manager level. It's at kind of an executor level where, for instance, we have our company motto is uncomplicated skincare for men. And the reason why is we believe we give men exactly what they need in a monthly box to have great looking skin. So we want to live, one of our core values is to live, is to act uncomplicated. And being uncomplicated is not simple. It's, it takes a lot of effort to be uncomplicated, but it's our motto. And so we'll say in a meeting, hey, Gene, that sounds like a pretty uncomplicated solution. Teach guys first, as another example, is another core value. So so we might even say, I think that is the right solution. It's very uncomplicated and it puts teach guys first. So it's that type of constant reinforcing of what the company stands for.
Now, we've been talking about core values. I want to share a little story with you. I don't have my client's permission to give you their name, but I will tell you this was an interesting aspect of our work together. I've shared this story before, but if you probably haven't heard it, so I'll just share it again quickly. We did an exercise where the company had values, but they hadn't really been put down into paper, which means they're operating from these values, but it's not clear to everyone. And everyone probably has a different interpretation of this. So we actually, me actually sat down with the executive leadership team, we as a team, defined what the values are through a process. It was very easy to do. I've done this many, many times before, and I loved doing it for them. And then 6 months later, the CEO and I were talking, and he's like, what I noticed the other day was people were bringing up the values and said, if this is who we are, this is the decision we need to make. So the short version of the story is the values allow people to make decisions. And when you have those values clear and people understand them, they're living them, they make decisions without you having to weigh in, which removes you from being the bottleneck. And that's a beautiful thing. Make sure you have core values and you guys live by them. Back to Kelley. I think our values should be a part of our vocabulary like you're describing. So I appreciate that detail. I want to go into one of the other buckets. You talked about mentoring them, which is really about developing them and really helping them grow into employees, helping them get there. And I don't know how you feel about coaching. I've been a coach for 10 years, and I think a lot of people think they understand coaching. Would you say that part of your aspect in the culture is coaching people to higher performance, or is it some other way?
It's 100% part of the culture. So further together, act like an owner. These are all things that are also core values. We want our middle level managers to be doing everything they possibly can to help the people that are executing on our business every day to take their job over. We are constantly thinking about if that person, is there a position in the company that most utilizes their strengths that perhaps they can move to, or they can graduate to. We're constantly talking about succession plans and having depth behind people. So these are all things that our leaders are really thinking about when they're mentoring people. And that culturally, this is a great point, Gene. I think like that is a mentality that you have to. There needs to be a level of trust amongst the employees that people truly have their back. They truly want them to be better. They truly want them to take their job. They truly want them to succeed. That is that culture, because in many other companies, and many companies that, people that I talk to and where I'm from, it's just the reverse of that. Some people like to keep people down and don't let other people know what they're doing so that they can get that job, et cetera, et cetera.
Really great distinction there. I actually have a value in our company around ownership as well. Where did it come from for you? Like, why would you want people to act like an owner inside your big growing organization?
Well, because I want people to be actually, they are owners because I'm an ESOP program and we're very proud of that. But I want people to, be proud of what they've accomplished. And we have on our wall of our lobby, it says transparency builds trust. And we want our employees to feel very proud, like a sense of ownership. And it's inculcated through our entire organization. People will come in and they'll be very, very, very proud of what their accomplishments are. And they'll want to tell someone, like, I just saved $30,000 for the company and this is how I did it. And not only was I able to save $30,000, but I also helped our vendor be better this way too. So I think like that mentality of acting like an owner, and it goes all the way down to, everything to, do you take Uber or Lyft? I mean, if Uber's $58 from the airport and Lyft is 38, which one should you take? Should you even check? And I think like that's the type of mentality that I want.
Perfect. Then the final bucket that you mentioned was hiring. And I agree. It is hard to hire. We had a role that we were hiring last year, and there were 400 applications for one position. It took us 3 months to find the right person, and I'm really glad we were patient. And I was trying to get us to rush through the process. And my team reminded me of how patient we needed to be to find the right person. What have you learned about hiring over the years of building this big brand of yours?
Cultural fit, attitude is, those two things are really critical. Really understanding where someone is in their journey, in their life journey, and then hiring, early on, you hire more generalist, a little bit more generalist early on. And as you grow and get into growth stage and then beyond, you're going to hire very specific people that are laser focused on a mission within the organization. So, and like I mentioned before, having, making sure you have redundancy behind each position, depending again on the size of your organization, these type of things, making sure that you're talking to them very early on about their career ambitions, what are the potential career paths within the organization, and making super clear expectations for what happens if they do or don't make it.
I don't want you to let out the secret, so you can actually defer this question.
Yeah.
But do you have a favorite interview question that helps you get to the heart of some aspect of culture fit, attitude, or life journey?
Boy, that's a good one. I don't have a specific question, but I develop a specific question based on their, something specific within their resume. And I am looking for very clear signs of, and actually I'm usually only focusing on one or two of our core values. And I'm usually asking a couple of specific questions to get at how would they act in a certain situation? And so I think, I don't know if I have a silver bullet question. I'm going to say I don't have one.
We've been talking about interview questions. I asked Kelley about his favorite. He did not give it, and I get it. It's really a secret thing. Maybe he doesn't have one, but I'm going to give you my favorite interview question. And I want people to realize that this is what I use to assess if people are going to blame others or they're willing to take ownership when things get tough. And so it's a two-part question. The first part of that question is, what is a big goal that you set for yourself that you weren't able to obtain? And they will describe what that goal is. And then the second part is the key. Why didn't you get there? If they blame others, I know that when things get tough, they'll blame others. They'll blame me. They'll blame technology. They'll blame not having time. But if they take ownership and say, I am the reason why I didn't hit that goal. This is what I learned about myself. This is how I've grown. And I realized I didn't commit. I didn't have the discipline. I wasn't consistent enough. I didn't make time for it. They take ownership of it. That's a signal to me that they are willing to take ownership when they work for me. So I love this interview question. And if you have a favorite interview question, email it to me, gene@genehammett.com. I'd love to hear from you, our audience, about what you are. I'm collecting interview questions about what works. And if you're interested in that collection, just send me an email and I'll send it to you right away, gene@genehammett.com. Back to Kelley. It's okay. We don't want to let all the secrets out of the bag either.
Thanks.
But I also want to follow up with this. Like, your style of leadership probably has changed over the years. Is there a moment in time where you realized, you know what, that style of leadership doesn't work for the kind of company we're building, or I'm going to really transform in some way because it's not working the way it used to?
Yeah, I don't think I was as compassionate of a leader. Anybody that's still in a leadership role through COVID probably has completely changed their mindset. I would expect I have about being compassionate and understanding the human being has your team has, a life outside of the office, and they're probably going through a lot, emotionally, in their work life, they're probably going through a lot. So, and so I'm really, really cognizant about that and the words that we use around the office and how that impacts people. I think that's a pretty common trend, in today's world.
We've been talking about the three parts of culture. You listed them out as hiring and developing, and then also
Core values.
The developing of the culture specifically over time with values. When you think about you being, what guides you today as a leader beyond compassion, what is it? Like, you've been successful, you've created this big brand with Tiege Hanley. How are you going to evolve as the leader that you need to be as you continue to grow this company?
Yeah, I again, on that subject too, I've changed quite a bit. Maybe it's just where I'm at in my career, but I'm really interested in helping people as much as possible. It's kind of embarrassing how few people actually pick up the phone and ask for help. So, and that's the reason why, and I'm very grateful to Eugene for having me on your show. I really would like to share my knowledge with other people, because I feel very at ease with where I'm at in my career, and I feel very at ease with what I've been able to create. So, and as a matter of fact, I've recently kind of redefined what retirement looks like to me. Retirement to me was starting a bunch of other businesses that I have in my mind, but not worrying about money. Now it's, I think, really seeing how much good I can do in a very, very specific way. So, which I haven't quite figured out yet.
Well, I am looking forward to what you guys do next. I mean, the brand that you've built, that I've known about for years through YouTube and through different conversations, I was like, that's really smart. A lot of guys aren't taking care of their skin. They don't know how. You're actually, when you sent me the little package, not that I asked you guys to, you get it out of, because I don't do this I'm not an influencer.
Right.
And I'm not doing it for free stuff. But you sent the little guide of do this first, and this is what you do. You even labeled, this is an AM lotion and a PM lotion.
Right, exactly.
And I feel like guys need that little level of support, because we go to our wives and go, which one am I supposed to use at night?
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, we make it really simple. We make it uncomplicated for guys.
Great to have you here, Kelley, and I really appreciate your wisdom.
Thanks, team.
Wow, what a great interview. I love the simplicity of these three buckets and how he described it. I want to highlight just a couple of things from this. I really believe that we should be living our values. It's a common theme throughout this. We should actually be talking about them day in, day out, at every meeting and every chance we have, to make decisions and allow people to know this is what we stand for and who we are. I appreciate you guys tuning in here. When you think of leadership and you think of Growth Think Tank. As always, lead with courage. We'll see you next time.